morning. Good morning to all my US buddies here from Germany. The last day of the year 2018. So during I'm checking my comments here at my YouTube channel, as you can see, I thought, what can I tell you on the last video here for that year? And my Vic is still sleeping in a barn in a winter storage until end of April, and so I thought about I can tell you something about the differences between Germany and the US. As I mentioned maybe in a former video, I've been six times in the US in the last 20 years for vacation with a few buddies or with my family at different states in the west and the east, the north and the south. So I've got a little experience, and I think I can a little bit compare maybe the 10 most different things between US and Germany. So if you read something about Germany or you want to travel to Germany, so you have a little bit in your mind what are the main differences. I don't want to discuss if these differences are good or bad. I only want to mention it so that you know a little bit from my country, as I know something about your country, and I try to compare. I've got some notices here. I don't want to forget the different points. And let me start. I think it's one of the important difference between the US and Germany if you have children. And I've learned that you have to pay for college, and sometimes a lot for college. And in Germany, colleges are for free of charge. I've got a 24-year son. He's study mechanical engineering, and you don't have to pay anything. A little bit, it's not the truth. You have to pay $200 or $300 for half a year. It's some kind of registration fee for the college, and you have also then free of charge the public transport. You can use the public transport. You get an ID card from the college, and with that you can use in that country where you study the public transport. So I think if you have children 1, 2, 3 or 4 in Germany, everyone can study. Okay, you need some good classification from the high schools sometimes. Maybe you want to study medicine. You need one of the best classification in the high school to go at the college, because there's so many people and they have to select. But it's completely free. You only have to rent an apartment or a flat when your kid is study outside your home country. But I think it's good to know and very important if you come or your kids want to study in Germany. There are no fees above this few $100 for half a year. And I've learned with a discussion with my buddies in the US that they have to pay 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 or more $1,000 for a year high school. No, college, sorry. I mean college. Yeah, so point 2 is healthcare. I know that you are in discussion the last years like Obamacare or whatever. That some people of you, some firms or some factories have a healthcare insurance for their employees and some not. In Germany is when you are working, when you take over a job, it's mandatory that you have healthcare insurance, or you get it then, the healthcare insurance, retirement insurance, unemployment insurance, And then care insurance, that is when you're being old, when you're getting old, and when you go to an old people's home, then they pay roughly the half from the costs from this home for older people. So once again, healthcare, retirement, unemployment, and care insurance, it's mandatory. And how does it work? When you are have a job and maybe you're working for $3,000 a month, and your boss tell you you will get $3,000. He is or he have to pay everything and these insurances to the government, and you get then the rest of the salary, and it's roughly the half. It's everything paid, but you get only the half. So if someone tell you he earned $4,000, it's called brutto, then every of these insurances your boss have to pay before you get the rest, and then you get roughly the half for you. Everything is paid, taxes, insurances, and that's called netto. It's a netto salary then that you have to know. And if you have no job, also homeless people having an healthcare insurance from the government. That means also nobody have to live on a street here in Germany. You get a home, you get healthcare insurance, you get everything. But you have to fill out some documents and have to go to the government. And some people don't do that. I don't know why, but you don't have to live on the street. I've seen many homeless people in the US under the bridges when I've been in Los Angeles or Las Vegas. It was a huge amount. There was a huge amount of homeless people. So that's the second difference. You have this kind of insurance. Retirement insurance is when you are end of your business life, you go to retirement, you get roughly the half of your former salary until your end of life. But you have to pay your whole life for that insurance. And that is working like the younger people which are working are paying for the older people which are retired. And that is the social system, how it works here in Germany. Third part, weapons. Nobody is allowed to buy or to wear weapons in Germany. Instead of when you're a sport protect, or when you're a hunter or a policeman. A policeman have weapons, that's clear. And if you are a sports protect or a hunter, it's very difficult. You have to make some kind of driver license or a license to handle these weapons. And only when you have this license, you can buy, but it's very, very difficult. And there are hard rules how to handle these weapons at home. You need a locker, you need 2 lockers, some of the long weapons, the short weapons, and the munition that you put inside. Nothing, you're not allowed to put it in your trunk or in your basement or whatever. It have to locked completely. So that means also you don't have to be afraid that someone have weapons. Nobody. Okay, maybe 1% they buy it illegal, yeah, but no one have weapons in the glove box or whatever, yeah. So if there are some homicides here in Germany, they are very less. They are doing that with knives, yeah, sometimes. So weapons are very, very rare. That means also that the security is much more higher here as in the US. I've seen a chart with the homicides and deaths via weapon over the last years. In the US, this is 5 times higher than in Germany. And that means also, if you ask me, can I go in that city at night alone at the boardwalk? I say yes. In 99%, I say yes. You can go at night alone everywhere. Okay, you have some huge cities where some drug problems are, but these drug things are regulated by gangs, yeah. But these gangs are not on the street. You can't see them. It's like mafia or something else. It's regulated, but as a normal tourist or normal man or woman, you go over the street, you don't get in trouble with them. It's very safe. Yeah, I think okay, if you are a crowd of people, someone can steal your money out of your pocket maybe, or whatever, or your photo, but I think it can happen all over the world. I can say Germany is a safe place, in my opinion. Point 4, public transport. I've seen in the last years public transport in the US is growing up in bigger cities, but here you have also in smaller cities, you have public transport like buses, train, and so on. Many of the people are using public transport or want to travel from one city in the other. When you are traveling maybe 300 miles, 400 miles, 500 miles, it's a long distance here in Germany, because Germany is only 700 or 800 miles long, and the people using train. Train is very popular, and I know in the US you are using domestic flights, but domestic flights, the area is not so wide here, and domestic flights were used by business people. Sometimes they're using the plane in the morning, maybe going from Berlin to Munich, and in the evening they're going back. And it's you need 1 hour for that kind of flight. And normal families, or when you want to visit, you use a train, a high-speed train. This train, it's driving 140, 50 miles, sometimes 170 miles. So it's very fast and it's popular, but sometimes it's very crowded. So, and since a few years you have long distance buses. They are cheap, but they are secure. On the Autobahn, you're standing in the queue. A train never stands in the queue. So I've got point 4, public transport and security. I've told you in combination with the weapons. I think point 5, security. Germany is very safe. I never heard in the news, on the television, that someone is murdered or there's a homicide. Okay, very less, maybe 2 or 3 times a year when I look at television. There are some news about homicides. Maybe a father killed his whole family or whatever, yeah, but it's only 1 or 2 times a year in whole Germany. Okay, point 6, yeah, speed limits at Autobahn. I've told you in the former videos. We have no speed limits here on the Autobahn. You can drive so fast you can or your car can, or you want. But I think it's the half of the Autobahn section are regulated. Meanwhile, and there's a speed limit between 60 to 200 miles. Yeah, it depends on the condition of the street or if there's some deviations or whatever. But if there are no traffic, like Sunday morning when everyone is sleeping, you take your car if you want, you go on the Autobahn and you can drive 180 miles if you've got a sports car. Yeah, and if you want that. I think the speed limit on the German Autobahn is some kind of freedom, like your regulation that you can buy weapons. Sometimes I read you think about freedom to buy a weapon, and here is this freedom to ride as fast as I want. Okay, let me say at point 7 how the houses are built. German houses are built in 90% from stone, and they are built for 100 years, roughly 100 years. I'm living in a house that's built 1950. It was built from the grandfather of my wife. And okay, you have to rebuild sometimes the bathrooms, the kitchen or whatever, but also the doors and the windows are very strong. And yeah, I've seen in the US houses mostly built from wood. Yeah, okay, it's building fast, but I don't know if your houses are in a good condition. If a wood house is in a good condition when it's 70, 80, 90, 100 years old. And it's normally that maybe when the parents are died, that the children are living their whole life in the same house as the parents, sometimes, you know. And point 8 is your cable connections to your houses. I've seen that mostly the cable connections, like electricity or telephone or whatever, are connected via the air to your house. And that means also if there's a storm, a hurricane or whatever, and then some pieces of wood come down, they cut the cable and the whole city have no electricity. In Germany it's completely different. The cables, the connections, the gas pipes, everything is in the ground, in the earth, 99%. When you come to Germany and look above in a town, you can't see any cables. No telephone, no electricity, and you can't see any gas meters at the outside of the houses or electricity meters. They're coming all time from the earth, from the ground into your house, and it means also it can stormy, it can rainy, it works every time. I'm living here since 15 years. We have never a loss of power or electricity. What you can see here when you are driving from city to city, you have high voltage cables which are coming from the power plant. These are surely going through the air, yeah, and you can see it. But the normal connections in cities, in streets, are 99% are not visible. Yeah, point 10, that means your streets. I've been traveling a lot to the US, thousands of miles, and I think 20,000 miles I've been traveling by car or motorhome, and I know from Germany smooth streets, smooth Autobahn, no holes, no Schlaglöcher. I don't know what the word is in English. But I think in Germany the Autobahn is more smooth. It's a better condition. You can drive fast, and I I feel that every time when I came back from the US. In the US you're driving and sometimes you have holes also on the Autobahn, and when you come into Germany it's smooth. And the last point, it's point 10 or 11, I don't know, is the environment. We have since decades a deposit called fund in Germany system for bottles, glass bottles, plastic bottles, or aluminium cans. And if you buy a glass bottle, like lemonade or beer or whatever, you have to pay a deposit, a few bucks, and you buy that beer or lemonade in a box with 10 or 12 bottles. It's also good to transport, and there's also a deposit on the box and also on the bottles. And if these bottles are empty and you want to buy a new one, you go to the supermarket and give back the box with the bottles and get back a few bucks cash. It's €6, 5, 6 euro, I don't know exactly, but that means also that no bottles are in the environment, yeah, or swimming in the Atlantic, yeah. And when you're going through the nature, you don't find bottles, cans, glass bottles, plastic bottles, or aluminium cans. I know from the aluminium cans in the US, some homeless people are collecting them and get money for that. That's nice. But if you are buying in the US glass bottles, I've never seen a deposit or bring it back system. Yeah. So that means also that I hope that no plastic from Germany is swimming in the Atlantic Ocean. Yeah. And we are also dividing our trash. We have few tons for glass and plastic in our household, or biology waste, biology, but it's a hard word, biological, okay, waste or trash, and we separate them, we divide them, and it's going to different factories or to make new things from the plastic or from the glass. Yeah. So I think it's different. Yeah? So I don't want to discuss if it's good or bad. You can discuss or leave me a comment. Maybe how do you find my notices, my points today? And so that's it for today. Take my notices back with the right arm. I'm a little bit out of order with the left one here. In a former video I've mentioned I've got a little shoulder surgery a few weeks ago. So one arm has to be enough today. And yeah, that's the last video for 2018. No Vic today because of sleeping, and I hope you enjoyed my little comparison here today between US and Germany, and when the winter has ended in March, there are new videos on air with my Crown Vic, and meanwhile I will check your comments and give you an answer. And my last words for today: Happy New Year in a few hours for you, and I think it's your time on the East Coast is 6 hours back to Germany, and the West Coast is 9 hours. So I've got the New Year first, yeah, and then you 6 hours up to 9 hours later. So thanks for watching, thanks for your time, again from Frank and from his sleeping Crown Vic, and I hope you enjoyed my videos, and you checked my latest videos or last videos, and see you next time. Bye bye.